So it looks like Nintendo is setting up to have a massive GamesCom showing late August. This goes on from August 20th to the 24th. Nintendo has revealed their full lineup of titles for the event, and it's actually looking pretty epic overall. Shoutouts to my man Stealth over on Twitter. He talked about this, so I wanted to break down the games and what this means for the second half or potential big Nintendo Direct that we're probably going to be getting very soon here overall. We also are going to get into some other content with the Nintendo Switch 2 sales and more, but let's go ahead and jump right into this first topic discussing what is happening at Gamescom, because check out this lineup, guys. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, Pokemon Legends ZA Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, Hollow Knight Silk Song, Hades 2, Elden Ring Tarnished Edition, Borderlands 4, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Kart World, Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV, Cyberpunk 2077, and Nintendo GameCube stuff as well. So all of that will be playable at the event. Well over 13 games if you count the Nintendo GameCube stuff as well. So that's a pretty good lineup and probably stronger than we've seen Nintendo go in recent memory when it comes to Gamescom. A lot of the times they might not even be at the show or bring too much. I remember not really hearing too much in the Nintendo Switch 1 era, but with the Nintendo Switch 2 at least starting out here, you have some pretty highly anticipated titles. For me, the big thing here, absolutely Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, having that playable for people. There's been some, I would say, slight panic or fear mongering amongst some online, Twitter, of course, Reddit, whatever the case is, about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond and what's going to happen with this game. Is it going to get delayed or whatever out of 2025? But that's not the case. If they're letting the fans play it when it comes to it, the game is not getting delayed. It is definitely going to be here for 2025, with the release date probably coming up at a Nintendo Direct sometime in September. That's what I'm guessing for this. Nintendo already has August set with Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, in addition to Drag Cross Drive and a few other titles coming out. So I think that they're really going to go hard when it comes to release dates and the bigger games for September. And Gamescom is setting all of that up. It is setting up the big show, in my opinion, because a lot of these titles are obviously going to be out in September or later for the last portion of the year, the big push for the holiday season. So Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, absolutely incredible. Obviously, Pokemon Legends ZA, I'm very excited for that. I think that the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is going to be great because you're going to get 60 FPS and better resolution. Pokemon games already don't look the best, but on Switch 2, at least you're going to get that 60 FPS, at least you're going to get that better resolution and overall scope and feel of the game. So I have to go with the Switch 2 Edition for Pokemon Legends ZA. Silk Song, the elusive Silk Song, is going to be there. People have been waiting for Silk Song for a very long time to come out. So yes, Silk Song, that's very exciting. That's going to be there. Hades 2, Elden Ring, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade. To me, one of the most important games on the Nintendo Switch 2, which I'm going to talk about that in a separate video. I've got a number of things that I want to discuss with that game, but having that playable at the booth on the Nintendo Switch 2, that is huge overall. So this is all just setting up the master plan. Zach from Switchforce actually talked about this. We got the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase. That was the previous week. We got the Nintendo Indie Showcase, happened recently as of the time that I'm recording this video. And then the next phase is going to be the next big Nintendo Direct, with probably a lot of these titles actually getting release dates. Borderlands 4 we know is for October 3rd. Pokemon Legends ZA, we have a release date for that as well. But I think Silk Song, Hades, Elden Ring, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, all of these titles still need to get those solid release dates, plus other games as well, setting up for 2026. So I firmly believe that this is just the setup, Gamescom, for the setup for the big next show that Nintendo's going to be doing and playable. So these games are definitely coming out this year. It looks like Nintendo's going to hit us strong when it comes to September with a big Direct, which is already, of course, rumored when it comes down to it. So what do you guys think about Gamescom and the setup overall? What's happening? Big news here with Nintendo Switch 2. Let me know in the comment section below. But before we get into the next topic, please make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my vids as soon as they drop. And let me know what game you're looking forward to most in the fall for the Nintendo Switch 2. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the next big thing. The Nintendo Switch 2 blows out the competition when it comes to the Famitsu sales in Japan. We've got the latest numbers here. stock seems to be an issue because in Japan, you still just can't walk into a store and buy a Nintendo Switch 2. You can't do that. Now, I was at Walmart the other day and I walked in and I saw a Nintendo Switch 2. So here in the US, in certain parts, especially in heavy game-centric areas like I'm in Central California, you can get the Nintendo Switch 2. They sell through their stock pretty normally. Nintendo keeps it stocked very well, but they sell through it. The next batch comes in, people buy at a regular normal clip. But in Japan, no, not the same thing. They still have the little lotteries that are going on there. You just can't walk into every single store and find them. So the Nintendo Switch 2 sold a pretty good amount this week, and compared to the rest of the systems out there, it blows out everything else. 67,733 units for this week. The Nintendo Switch 1 did 18,637 units, which for a system with the Nintendo Switch 2 already out, Switch 1 popularity is still going to be around for a bit afterwards. I think that there's still going to be people buying that system, but outside of Nintendo, nobody else really even sells too much at all. It's pretty much a wash when it comes down to it, because the PlayStation 5 system only sold 7,141 units. The Xbox Series family of systems only sold 271 units. The Xbox Series is completely dead in a lot of places, but in Japan, it's so bad to the point to where, like, I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of speechless, and I know it's been selling this bad for a while, but 271 units is essentially non-existent. I don't even know if stores even have shelf space, because this is historically bad overall when it comes to a system sales and all that. So I think it's just there so they don't find them. Like the whole, I'm just here so you don't find me, you know? Like, I'm not even sure. But 271 units is really bad. The PS4 somehow still sold 19 units, so some stores are still selling them. But yeah, that is actually terrible when it comes to the Xbox Series, but we've known that for quite some time, right? Like, that's not something that we haven't known. But yes, the Switch 2 is pretty much blowing out everybody else. Heck, the Switch 1 is selling more than double than any other platform, multiple times more than any other platform. So Nintendo pretty much has a chokehold on Japan, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. You look at Demon Slayer, I think that was a pretty interesting game that came out, the new one, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles 2. That was the highest selling new release, and the breakdown was interesting. So on the Nintendo Switch 1, the game sold 54,491 units. On the PlayStation 5, it sold 12,351 units for a total of 66,842 units. Now remember, guys, these Famitsu sales from July 28th, 2025 through August 3rd, 2025, and it only counts the physical sales. It does not count the digital copy sold. So Demon Slayer probably did better than the 66,000, because we're going to talk about when it comes to PlayStation and the amount of digital sales that they have compared to physical, and it's looking kind of grim overall. Here is the top 10 for the best selling games when it comes to Japan. Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza is still there up at the top. You have some other game that I have no idea about that came out. Super Mario Party Jamboree, Castlevania Advance Collection, cool to see that, 9,000 units on the Nintendo Switch, Minecraft, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, The Eternal, and Tamagotchi Plaza overall. So a couple different Switch 2 games in there. Couple different Nintendo Switch games overall, one PlayStation game, it seems like, with Demon Slayer. So pretty much a wash again with Nintendo dominating the competition there. Like always, pretty much in Japan. It's pretty much going to be like that the whole generation overall. But what do you guys think about this when it comes to the sales with everything here with the Nintendo Switch 2? I'm very interested to see how games like Kirby affect the Nintendo Switch 2 and kind of what they do there, and even going into the next month and what we get, some of those games that are coming out as well. It's going to be interesting to see the effect when it comes to the software sales and of course the physical sales, and if Nintendo can up the production a bit more in terms of shipping to Japan and getting that settled too. So what do you guys think overall? Let me know in the comment section. Next up is the Nintendo Indie World Showcase. We're going to talk about that a bit. Some people said that it wasn't good. Some people said that it was really good. With these indie showcases, you're always going to get a wide range of how people feel because of the games. They're indie games. They're not super impressive looking or anything. But I have 3 games that I thought that were pretty cool that I want to talk about. And that is Mina the Hollower, which has a demo released, shadow drop the same day. And the game is officially coming out on October 31st. Shoutouts to Celia over there. Yacht Club Games doing it big with Mina the Hollower. Switch 1 and the Nintendo Switch 2 ready to go October 31st, 2025. Demo is available. You guys should all go try it out. This game is awesome. It's from the developers of Shovel Knight, so you know the controls are going to be good. You know the game's going to be balanced. You know there's going to be some challenging stuff in there, and you know that it's going to be a game that's going to be beloved when it comes to the fans, because Shovel Knight was just so great. So Mina is the next big thing from them when it comes to a new IP. Obviously fusing a little bit of the Castlevania, a little bit of the Zelda, a little bit of all of that kind of mixed in together, that old school flair that you guys love. So yeah, I'm going to be playing this game. I think it's going to be awesome, and I cannot wait to see exactly what other people think about it. Reviews that come out. It's coming out October 31st. Finally have the release date there. That was a pretty cool first game to show off at the Indie World Showcase. The game called Glaciered looks really interesting from Japanese developers out there. It's like a 65 million years in the future type of game, RPG, where you're some type of weird organism going throughout the sea and fighting in RPG battles, real time and all that. Looks really cool. I was surprised to see a game that looked like that at this show, so I can't wait to actually play that one. That's going to be coming out this year as well. And then the game that people were like, this is really good, but there wasn't much time spent on it, that's UFO 50, where there's apparently 50 different games across a bunch of different genres, and apparently it's a really good game, and it's finally on the Nintendo Switch 2 here. So very good overall when it comes to those 3 games. I know the show necessarily wasn't the best for everyone. It was only 15 minutes long, and there was no one more big thing. They just said, this is what you get. So it is what it is there. So on after phase 2, according to Zach from Switchforce, on to phase 3 when it comes to the big Nintendo Direct. And I think that GamesCom, like I said, is kind of setting up for that. Now, I do want to talk about one more thing here that I alluded to earlier with the PlayStation 5, because we did get a sales update with the PlayStation 5. So PS5 selling decently, selling pretty good. 80.3 million shipments overall that Sony has moved. They've shipped those to stores. So essentially they have sold those PlayStations and they have got their money. Now, all of those PlayStations are not in the hands of consumers, but they've already got their money for 80.3 million systems. So that's the shipped versus sold through, but still 80.3 is where they're at. Sony shipped 2.5 million systems over the last quarter, so that's interesting. I do want to talk about that just a little bit. Now, the PS5 is pacing slightly behind the PlayStation 4. That sold 82.2 million in the same time frame if you launch align them. Now, the difference though is that the PS4 was a bit cheaper. It was about $100 cheaper or so at the same time, so maybe you can factor that in. There's also some other things, probably with Japan not being as enthusiastic, so the sales are kind of lacking a little bit there. And also probably the higher sales price of the PS5 is probably holding a little bit back. Also GTA, I think that's also like another thing. If GTA comes out, when it comes to GTA 6, that's going to help boost up the sales quite a bit. So the delay definitely hurts for this year, but I think things will kind of catch up and probably overtake it maybe with GTA 6 coming out next year. But here's a very interesting point when it comes to the PlayStation 5. They don't give us any numbers when it comes to the biggest games, so like Horizon or God of War and whatever. But how about the digital sell-through? The digital sales are at 83% of the total game sales were digital. So only 17% were physical. What does that tell me? That tells me that physical is probably going to be a thing of the past for Sony going forward. I fully expect Sony to still make physical games and to provide external option for a disc, but the system is probably going to launch the PS6 with no disc drive at all and just all digital, because most people's libraries seem to be completely digital. Now, this is good and bad. There's a lot more bad than good though. It's good because obviously you have instant access to your games. It's cool to have that instant access. You don't have to get up and swap discs. You don't have to do anything like that. So for the lazy people like myself, it's good in the convenience factor. You can get games easier and faster anytime that you want, download them. And if you have fiber internet, man, it's super fast. You can download even big games quick. However, it's bad because it's only funneled through one place. There's only one place to buy these games. So getting better deals when it comes to physical games and all that is going to go away at some point. That is going to go away. And of course, being able to have the game yourself, being able to own that game, sell it, trade it, do what you want. Digitally on PlayStation 5, you cannot do that. So this is the same thing that we've dealt with now for years, decades, when it comes to digital distribution versus physical. But it definitely seems like Sony is going to be going all digital in the future with optional for legacy content. Now, once again, I'm not sure if they're going to do that with the PS6 to where they're not going to be producing physical PS6 games. I still think that they're going to say, okay, we need to at least provide that, but they're going to provide much lower quantities and kind of push more towards the digital aspect or digital way, because this is a staggering amount of digital consumers compared to physical, to almost to the point to where it's not worth it, right? It's almost to that point where there's so few people that are buying physical that I can see Sony kind of pushing it out. And one of the reasons why the PS5 Pro, a premium system, didn't even come with the disc drive for $700. You got to buy that separate. So the system is really more like $800 when you put up tax and everything. So I think that's pretty much what's going to happen in the future. They'll still have it for legacy content, but they're going to push more and more to having an all digital ecosystem in the future. And of course, Sony makes more money if you buy the game digitally than physical, because the retailer doesn't get the cut. So there's also that as well. But what do you guys think when it comes to everything that we discussed here in the vid? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.